Hey everyone, ready for a deep dive into a holiday classic that always gets people talking?
Oh, yeah. Love Actually, for sure. It's one of those movies you either love or well.
You kind of love to hate it, really.
Yeah, exactly. But even if you roll your eyes at some of the cheesiness,
There's no denying it really captures that holiday spirit.
right, and beneath all the rom-com sweetness, there's actually a lot to unpack.
Yeah, I mean, you've got this all-star cast,
Oh, for sure.
all these intertwined love stories.
All set during the Christmas season.
It's like the ultimate comfort watch.
Totally. But it also doesn't shy away from some of the tougher stuff.
Yeah, you see heartbreak, infidelity, grief.
All mixed in with those feel-good moments.
It's more complex than people give it credit for,
Definitely. And it's fascinating to see how it tackles themes of love and connection.
especially in a post-9/11 world.
Exactly. That context adds a whole other layer to the film.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
So shall we dive in?
Let's do it.
So right off the bat, that opening scene at Heathrow Airport,
Oh, yeah.
it sets the tone for the whole movie.
You've got David's voiceover talking about love being everywhere you look.
Even in the arrivals and departures of an airport.
It's such a simple observation.
So powerful too, right?
Totally. It's like he's saying that amidst all the chaos and uncertainty of life, love is the one thing we can always count on.
And the fact that this film was released just 2 years after 9/11,
Yeah, that adds a whole new dimension to that message.
it's like Curtis is offering this message of hope and resilience.
Exactly. Love as a force for good in a world that often feels very dark.
And while that message might seem a little overly simplistic to some,
Sure.
I think it's part of what makes Love Actually so enduringly popular.
Well, I agree. It's that reminder that we're all connected.
That even in the face of tragedy, there's still beauty and love to be found.
And it's packaged in this feel-good holiday movie.
Exactly. It's like the perfect antidote to cynicism.
Haha, for sure. Okay, so we've got this overarching theme of love.
But then Curtis throws us into this whirlwind of different storylines.
It's like a kaleidoscope of love stories.
From aging rock stars to awkward teenagers to married couples facing some serious challenges.
And somehow it all works.
It's amazing how he manages to weave all these threads
to
together.
keep it engaging.
Right. And let's not forget the cast.
Oh my gosh, the cast is incredible.
You've got legends like Alan Rickman and Emma Thompson.
Liam Neeson, Colin Firth,
And then rising stars like Keira Knightley.
Andrew Lincoln, Chiwetel Ejiofor,
It's like a who's who of British talent,
and they all bring their A game.
even those with smaller roles.
They make an impact.
So let's talk about some of those standout performances.
Okay, where do we even begin?
I've got to start with Bill Nye as Billy Mack,
Billy Mack, the aging rocker, trying to make a Christmas comeback.
with the most hilariously terrible song ever.
It's so bad, it's good.
And Nye plays it perfectly.
Oh, he's brilliant. He's got that perfect mix of cynicism and vulnerability.
Yeah, you totally buy that he's this washed-up rock star.
But you also kind of root for him,
And his relationship with his manager, Joe,
played by Gregor Fisher.
they have such great chemistry.
It's like this grumpy old married couple.
But you can tell they really care about each other.
It's one of those heartwarming subplots that just makes you smile.
Okay, and speaking of heartwarming subplots, we have to talk about Jamie and Aurelia.
Oh yes, Colin Firth and Lucia Moniz.
Their story is just so charming.
He's a British writer who goes to France to escape heartbreak,
And ends up falling for his Portuguese housekeeper.
even though they barely speak the same language.
It's like a classic rom-com setup.
But Curtis manages to make it feel fresh and genuine.
And the scene where he proposes to her in broken Portuguese,
Oh my God. So romantic.
it's just pure movie magic.
You can't help but get swept up in their love story
And it also touches on some interesting themes
about communication and connection.
and the ways love can transcend cultural barriers.
It's a really sweet story. It is, but I also think there's a side to that story that maybe hasn't aged so well.
Oh, really? What do you mean?
Well, I mean, the whole premise of this British guy going to France and expecting to sweep women off their feet just because he's British.
Oh, yeah, I see what you mean.
It kind of plays into those stereotypes.
And it can feel a little cringy now.
Especially in light of, conversations about consent and cultural sensitivity.
Right. It's a reminder that even our favorite movies sometimes reflect attitudes that we wouldn't necessarily endorse today.
Definitely.
Yeah,
But I think it's important to acknowledge those things and have those conversations.
absolutely.
Mm.
So Love actually gives us these lighter, more comedic storylines,
Mm-hmm.
but it also doesn't shy away from the messier side of love.
Oh, yeah. There's definitely some heartbreak in there.
Take, for instance, Emma Thompson and Alan Rickman.
S. Karen and Harry,
Oh my gosh, their storyline is just devastating.
he's tempted by his younger coworker.
And Karen finds out in the most heartbreaking way.
That scene where she's in the bedroom trying to hold back tears.
Oh my gosh, Emma Thompson's performance is just gut-wrenching.
It's so raw and real.
It's a reminder that even long-term relationships can face these incredible challenges.
And that infidelity can be so incredibly painful.
And Curtis doesn't sugarcoat it.
No, he lets us feel the full weight of Karen's pain.
And it's interesting how he balances those moments of heartbreak with moments of pure rom-com joy,
It's like he's showing us the full spectrum of love.
with all its ups and downs.
The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Exactly. Okay, and speaking of ugly, there's one character we haven't talked about yet,
Mark.
played by Andrew Lincoln,
Oh, yeah. Juliet's husband's best friend.
who is secretly in love with her.
Yeah, his whole storyline is a bit controversial.
I mean, some people find it romantic.
That whole silent confession scene with the cue cards.
Yeah, it's definitely iconic.
But others find it kind of creepy.
Yeah, I mean, he is essentially stalking her
Filming her wedding without her knowledge.
and making this grand gesture that she never asked for.
It's a bit much.
And it definitely raises questions about boundaries and consent.
Yeah, it's one of those storylines that maybe hasn't aged as well as others.
Right. It's a good example of how societal attitudes have shifted over time.
And how what might have seemed romantic in 2003 can feel problematic today.
Exactly. It's all about context.
Right. Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about some of the heavier, more dramatic storylines, but Love Actually also has those moments of pure rom-com bliss.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the Prime Minister's storyline is the best example of that.
Oh, yes. Hugh Grant is the newly elected prime minister who falls for a junior staff member.
Played by Martine McCutcheon.
It's like a fairy tale romance.
She's this powerful figure.
And she's just an ordinary girl.
But they fall in love despite their differences.
And who can resist that scene where he's dancing through 10 Downing Street?
To jump for my love.
It's so cheesy.
But so much fun.
It's pure Hugh Grant charm.
And it's one of those scenes that just makes you feel good.
It's a reminder that love can be light and playful and joyful.
And sometimes a little bit silly.
Exactly. And I think that's part of the appeal of Love Actually.
It gives us that mix of emotions. It makes us laugh. It makes us cry. It makes us think.
And it ultimately leaves us feeling hopeful.
Hopeful about love and life and the possibility of connection.
Even in a world that can sometimes feel pretty bleak.
Exactly. So we've talked about the good, the bad, the controversial.
But there's no denying, Love Actually has become this holiday classic.
Yeah, people watch it every year.
It's sparked countless debates.
Thinky pieces, memes.
Even academic essays.
It's become a real cultural phenomenon.
So why do you think it resonates so much with audiences?
Well, I think part of it is that it taps into this universal longing for a connection.
That need to feel loved and to belong.
Exactly. And Curtis presents these different facets of love.
Romantic love, familial love, platonic love.
And even though the film is set in London,
These themes are universal.
we can all relate to the desire to find someone special
To experience that feeling of being seen and understood.
and to build meaningful relationships with the people around us.
And I think the film does a really good job of capturing the highs and lows of those relationships.
Oh, absolutely. It's not all sunshine and roses.
There's heartbreak and disappointment.
Miscommunication and missed connections.
But there's also this underlying sense of optimism.
That even when things are tough, love can prevail.
And I think that's a message that people really need to hear
Especially during the holidays.
when we're often surrounded by family and friends.
It's a reminder to cherish those connections.
And to appreciate the love that we have in our lives.
And let's not forget the soundtrack. I mean,
Oh, gosh, the soundtrack is amazing.
Curtis has this knack for picking the perfect songs.
To enhance the emotional impact of each scene.
Like that scene where Emma Thompson's character is listening to Joni Mitchell.
Oh, yeah. Both sides now.
It's just devastating.
You can feel her heartbreak through the music.
And then there's the use of All You Need Is Love during the airport scenes.
It's so cheesy.
But it works.
It creates this sense of joy and hope and unity.
It's like Curtis is reminding us that love is the answer.
To all of life's problems.
That's a powerful message.
And it's delivered in this really entertaining and engaging way.
And I think that's ultimately why Love Actually has become such a beloved film.
It's a reminder that love is out there.
In all its messy, complicated forms.
And that even in a world that can sometimes feel pretty dark.
Love is the one thing that can truly light us up.
Well said. It's been a pleasure taking this deep dive into Love Actually with you. And for all of you listening out there, have you seen Love Actually? What did you think? Head over to the comments and tell us what you think about Love Actually. And if you like this deep dive, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more great movie reviews. We'll see you next time.